Hey guys, so today's video is talking about coyote locations and how they change based on the season. So driving to a couple spots I'm going to show you guys, so hang with me and let's get started. Alright guys, here's location 1. Now you can see here the crops are high, got corn over here, right? But when I'm scouting these locations, I'm not scouting for the heat of summer. If I was running my animal damage control and trapping coyotes there, that's different. But right now I'm scouting for this winter. So there's features I look for. Now this is a location where the coyotes don't change their travel way based on summer to fall to winter. It's same kind of travel. So you see here, right in front of us, there's a fence post. There's no fence at all here. But you can see here just a very faint trail. It's very faint, but it's getting traveled by bobcats and coyotes, right? And if you look on the other side here, there's a T intersection right here. This location doesn't change much season to season. There's also a gate over here. Okay, because this is just a great travel way all year round. But some of these locations that I'm scouting and that we're going to talk about changed based on season and crops being pulled out. You got to remember, it's going to be really bare out here come winter. You're not going to see this grass, you're going to see snow, there's not going to be much cover. Everything changes. The coyotes will still travel some of the same travel ways, but a lot of them are going to change. Here's a perfect example while we're here. There won't be anything between that draw and this fence line. Right now, they'd run a little more freely. They may run right in the center of this pasture and cross at the fence line a little more this time of year. Come winter, they may hug this since there will be no cover. They may hug down low. And yes, there's another trail down low that I ain't going to point out today. But that's a difference based on cover and time of year. So at that last location, guys, I forgot to mention that when the crops are pulled off that side with the fence post that just has the fence post, the coyotes will tend to travel along those draws hunting for whatever's, moved down into the draws, and they want to cross at that focal point, that fence post. I feel like coyotes do that, kind of like raccoon focus on telephone poles here in Iowa, where they'll see it as a feature and they'll head straight to that. And also coyotes tend to have a little bit of that same feature that like mink have and muskrat, where they travel walls. Coyotes tend to do the same thing, but with like fence lines and draws, especially when they have less cover. And here in Iowa, it's a little different because anybody with a gun in their vehicle will pop a shot at a coyote. So they have to, be a little more aware and educated to hug things that they can take cover, or a hilltop. They'll run a hilltop on one side, that way they can jump over the other side if if a car stops or somebody starts to approach. So anyways, let's keep rolling next location. Alright guys, here's another good location, and this is a location that can change a little bit how the coyotes travel come trapping season. Right now, they've got all this area in corn. They could be out there right now, we wouldn't know they're in there. Okay, imagine this winter. Yank the corn, imagine some snow beating down the stubble and what's left, the stalks, and what's left, and then boom, all you have at this location is this low point right here. That's it. So your coyotes may go from traveling, mid-hill and crossing the road to down in this bottom, or they may hug that tree line over there and cross up at the top of the hill. Or they could do the same thing on this side, run the hilltop coming up from, there's a big pond over there. They could run this hilltop and cross the road up here. So this could completely change come season. So right now I am not looking for turds and tracks. That's not what I'm looking for right now. I'm looking for features. Speaking of which, there we just jumped up a bunch of deer, a couple deer. They were bedded down right in that corn, on the edge of that corn. Anyways, we're looking for features right now. We are not looking for necessarily for foot tracks and turds. If we get those, great, but we're anticipating the change of season and the travel change that the coyotes will go through. We'll talk more about that here in a minute. And features I'm looking for, guys, is drives with maybe netted fencing on both sides, which forces them to either cross here at the drive, which they probably do, or further on down. That's a feature I kind of look for. Alright guys, and here's a spot that doesn't really change based on season and travel. There's no crops in there. You can't tell it there, but the fence line tees over there, the netted fence, right? And so here's your crossing point. You can see the beat down grass. Now the thing is, deer and everything will cross right here where the coyote skirts this. Deer will do the same, or they'll come across right here. And so you got to know how to catch the coyote and determine, when's the best time to get that coyote at this location. But this is the stuff I'm looking for, pre-scouting it for season. Alright, and here's where that same location, just where it tees in this brushy mess here. Okay, this is where coyote number 2, if they're traveling as a pair, should come through. And you see here the beat down grass. I can zoom it in a little bit for y'all. That's the other location I'd be looking for. But that's an old gate, so you can't trap that now in Iowa. So, because that's technically a field drive, so boom, right across from it. You can see the beat down grass. This will show more as we get into winter too, and late fall. This would be one of my favorite locations. You can't tell this here, but that's a pond because of all the thick brush. That's a pond. Here's a drive. There's a trail here. It's kind of hard to make out. Then as you come over here, there's another trail right here. They're real subtle, but they're there. Coyotes don't leave as beat down as the trail as other animals because they stand taller and they don't come through quite as often, typically. So anyways, use the outside of the pond to guide your coyotes and bobcats and everything. I mean, unless they're swimming through it, they're gonna go around it. Alright guys, here's the other side of that pond. We've got one trail right here. Hard to make out in the middle of the summer, but it's there. And then I'm trying to remember, was the other one down here? No, it was back. Sometimes they go closer to the pond, sometimes they go a little further out. That's the one we just looked at. And I think cats and coyotes will choose the same trail sometimes, and sometimes the cats will hug closer to the water than the coyotes. It's just some random thought, I guess. Here's the other trail. Still hard to make out, but it's there. Also, we have raccoon travel on this road. No surprise there. This is Iowa. Alright guys, so this next location is where we're going to kind of finish it up. Bear with me. We're going to be talking about coyotes here, but we're going to talk about their food first, so just hang tight. Alright guys, so I want to give credit where credit's due. This information was first passed to me from another trapper. I want to give him credit without, blasting his name on social media or anything. Jimmy, he took me aside and he taught me some stuff about coyote travel, and so I appreciate it, and let's talk about that right now. Alright guys, so down there on the other side of that timber line, there's a creek. You guys don't know that, but it's there. Up there near the skyline, there's a fence. It's almost out of sight, but it's up there. Now this winter, when it gets bitter cold, and the snow's on the ground, you won't see all this cover and pasture here, right? And so a lot of the prey that usually would hang up high comes down for protection from the wind and protection from the predators down into the brush and near creeks and rivers. So your coyotes that used to run the hills more tend to zone on in down, and that's where they kind of switch to hunting their prey. Now it doesn't mean they won't travel up there like that fence line that's skyline up there, but it's just follow the prey to find the predator. Okay, so when it gets bitter cold, all this grass is beat down and there's snow only here, and there's a fence line up top, and that's all you'll see up there near the skyline, and this brush here down here in the creek, that's where the prey's going. That's where the predator's gonna hunt more often. So that's the final tip on this video. Appreciate you guys. Alright guys, that's gonna do it for this video. I hope that you found some of this information useful, and you see that I'm kind of looking for features that you may not be thinking about this time of season. I'm looking for features and focal points that those coyotes will just grab and head towards. Okay, so I'm not trapping them right now with animal damage control work, because then I'd be looking for the same things that I'd be looking for where they're actively at. I'm looking for where they're going to be when the seasons change. I'm looking for the features. If a draw sticks out or a finger sticks out headed towards the road, that's the kind of stuff I'm looking for right now. I hope this video helps you out. I appreciate you guys watching. Let's get ready for an intense season. Tight chains.
Got an outdoor range, catching critters and catfish here in the countryside.